In recent times, scientists have detected a nano-sized particle which they don't recognize. I believe this is actually a surtron, and these are clearly the most common particles in the universe. But we don't know, well, we haven't known of their existence until now because we simply could not see them. And how they have seen this surtron, I believe, is similar to us seeing a shooting star. We see the meteor entering Earth's atmosphere as it shoots through the sky when it is burning up. Similarly, if in the Higgs boson collider um, atoms are being fired at each other, you could rub off the speed of light from both sides and get down to close the speed of light being the balance. And if it is slightly less than that, for a moment you may be able to see the odd surtron as it goes slightly at a lower speed than the speed of light. And that is possibly how these surtrons have been spotted in recent times. Now we have to move to the situation of what all this will achieve. If we are able to travel at faster than the speed of light, what happens? How can it happen? How can we travel at such speeds? If we use laser beams, we will be able to use them as a form of propulsion. They don't use kerosene in rockets, they use ground metal, aluminium, iron to create the oxygen, and something like magnesium to create the spark, something like a sparkler. But lasers will be able to be used. I don't know yet quite how to do it, but I have an idea that the thrust may be created by dividing light into its various colors, removing the X-ray, possibly using erbium, a pink colored mineral, to absorb the X-ray. It's used widely in IT. And each of the colors of the rainbow have different wavelengths. And somewhat like Schrodinger's explanation of the atom and the electron not combining with the proton because of the hopping effect created by the different wavelengths, I think you will be able to create the thrust to start the propulsion using laser beams to create propulsion in a machine. Now, what will happen if we can do that? Already science knows about the dilution effect in time, so that if we travel at great speeds in space and return to Earth, we will return slightly later. But that curve is almost a right angle. The graph at 99.9999% of the speed of light, if we should achieve that speed and return to Earth, we would only return a little period further in the future. It would almost have to be a billion decimal points, 99.99, a billion times, before we would return to a very later, hundreds, thousands of years forward. Science already recognized that is possible. But of course, if we could reach those speeds. However, if we reach speeds exceeding the speed of light, we'll go backwards in time. Therefore, we would return to Earth in the past. So before I prepared this video, I had to consider the consequences of being able to do that and exactly what happens. If you travel into the past, does that mean we will be able to change the future? If we did that, when we came back to the future, it would mean we came back to a different future, in which case there would be an infinite number of permutations of what might be. In other words, there would be an infinite number of battles of Waterloo going on at the same time in the universe. That is not the case. The alternative is, if we went into the past, would be like something from a Dickens novel, The Ghost of Christmas Future, Present, or The Ghost of Christmas Past. In other words, we would be there, we would be able to observe, but we would not partake. Again, that is not the case. We will actually be able to travel into the past and communicate with those in the past and indeed in the future. The reason is our understanding of time is not correct. The past, the present, and the future are all in the now. That's a very difficult concept for us to understand, but that is what is happening. One way of getting you to understand that concept is if you're having dinner in a nice London restaurant this evening, they're having breakfast tomorrow morning in Sydney. And in Hawaii, they're just getting up this morning to have breakfast. But all those events are happening in the now. That is how it is. Everything is in the now. The next question, therefore, might be, is everything we do fated? Again, that is not the case. The fact that the future knows what we are going to do does not remove our choice, our decision what to do. So, I leave you with the thoughts of a most incredible future, the discovery of the Cirtron, a nano-sized massless particle that travels at just slightly more than the pi times the speed of light with a positive charge. Thank you.